Welcome to Satsang. So beautiful to be together with you all on this eve of Gita Jayanti, which is we'll talk more about it tomorrow, but it's a very important couple of days where we're looking at Mountain Day and Human Rights Day and Bhagavad Gita anniversary. It's just really a time of re-remembering our role here on planet Earth, our responsibilities, the way that our thread is interwoven with the threads of so many others on this planet. So we begin, as always, with a question that comes in advance from our family online, and then we'll open it up to any questions that anyone here might have. There's a microphone right there, so feel free to just come up to the mic and share your name, share where you're from, and ask any question. Is it okay to have extramarital affairs if you are not satisfied and happy with your spouse? This is asked by Mona via email. Is it okay to have extramarital affairs if you are not satisfied by your spouse? No, of course not. And here's why. Because it's untrue and it's disloyal. It's not about the sex. That's low on the list of priority reasons why an affair is wrong. It has to do much more with living in alignment with truth. Anything that you have to do in the world that you have to hide and lie about is something that you should really think 100 times about doing. And then think another 100 times if you still feel inclined to do it. And the reason is that living in a way in which you have to hide from the world, even if logically you convince yourself that it's okay and I'm not getting what I need at home, whether sexually, whether emotionally, whatever it may be, on a deep internal level, we know that if we're lying about something, it's wrong. We know this from early childhood. It's how a lie detector test works. I mean, imagine, how does a machine know if you stole jewels or not? How does a machine know if you were the car that did a hit-and-run accident or not? It doesn't. It has no way of knowing. The way that a lie detector works is something called galvanic skin response. And it measures a combination of things that happen on the skin when we are anxious. Pulse rate goes up. Blood pressure goes up. The skin gets damper. But it's even more subtle, and it's aspects that I don't even know that have to do quite literally with like the hair on your arms, the microscopic hair even, of kind of the electrical charge on it. And it's why they always ask you questions first, like, what is your name, and where do you work, and what's your address? Because then they get your baseline. And then they ask you the questions that they're looking to know. You know, did you steal? Did you lie? Did you this? And even if it's something that you've got a rationalization for, that machine picks it up because neurologically you are anxious. Neurologically, you know that lying is wrong. It's why we have words like psychopath or sociopath that describe people who abide by a completely different set of moral standards. And inevitably those words carry a negative connotation to them, as though they are not people who subscribe to our moral standards. But from a kind of psychological and criminal and forensic standpoint, what's interesting is very frequently they do not have the physiological tells of somebody who's lying. But the rest of us, there's a whole bunch of things that our bodies do because we know it's wrong. And so the issue with an extramarital affair, even if you can justify it, is if you've got to lie about it and you've got to hide it, inside you, you know that you're doing something wrong. And that creates a sense of conflict in you, and you're not able to live freely. The power in being able to move through the world in your dharma, in your purpose, in your freedom, is being able to speak your truth. Core, fundamental aspect of living a powerful life is you speak your truth. It's why when people are homosexual, coming out is so important. Why that's so empowering, being able to be honest with people about your sexual inclination. It's why holding on to secrets is so hard, and we find ourselves saying to people things like, I know I really shouldn't tell you this, and please don't be mad, but I just have to tell you. Like, I know you're going to be mad, and just please don't kill me, but I really want to tell you. Why do we want to tell it so badly? Because it's physiologically uncomfortable in us. And so having an extramarital affair, again, it's not the sex issue. It's the hiding and the lying issue. Don't do anything that makes you look down, look away, blink too much when you look yourself in the mirror. To live a powerful and purposeful life, you have to be able to take every step knowing that, sure, not everybody's going to like you, not everybody's going to appreciate you, not everybody's going to agree with you, but that you are living your truest life, that you are living absolutely your truth, whatever it may be. You're speaking your truth, you're living your truth, you're following your truth. And that's the source for living a powerful life. If you've got to lie and hide, it's going to impact so many other areas of your life that you don't even realize. Because suddenly your whole self-concept has changed. And of course, it's going to end up ruining the relationship in which you already think that you're not satisfied and happy, because now you're constantly nervous around them, you're constantly having to lie and hide, you're constantly having to justify why you're with someone else. If you're not happy and you're not satisfied, and you're at a point where you feel like there is nothing for me here, and you want to be with somebody else, get a divorce. I'm not saying it's easy, but do that which is in alignment with truth. Do that which is in alignment with morals and values and ethics and transparency. Be honest about it. Or tell your spouse, hey, look, I'm not satisfied. I'm planning to have an affair. If you want to get divorced, we can get divorced. Or we can stay married, but I'm just telling you I'm not satisfied. I'm going to have an affair. And take whatever the consequences of that are. Because again, of course, lying implies fear. It's the implication that if I tell you the truth, something bad is going to happen. And what that means is that my truth is out of alignment with good things happening in my life. And that's a really bad message to give yourself. That if I speak my truth, bad things are going to happen in my life. You don't want to live under that shadow. Speaking your truth should lead to the best things happening in your life. Again, yeah, of course, there will be challenges, there will be opposition, there will be difficulties. But you know, I was just today giving an interview to these beautiful young women from Dharamshala on His Holiness the Dalai Lama's 90th birthday that's coming up. And I had the beautiful honor of being interviewed for it. And I was talking about how, you know, if you look at what His Holiness had to go through in terms of being not only ejected out of his homeland, not only being literally sent on the run, but essentially then spending the next several decades having one of the most powerful governments in the world try to convince every other government not to accept you, not to see you. I mean, can you imagine? We lose our mood when, like, the person in the office or cubicle next to us doesn't invite us to have lunch with the group, and feel like, oh my God, I can't go back to work, like they're not including me in lunch, or this one's lying about me, or this one's being obnoxious about me. Imagine having an entire government trying to thwart your movement throughout the world. Imagine having an entire government trying to prevent you from speaking truth. I cannot tell you the number of programs at the United Nations I've been at in which they were meant to have His Holiness come, and China literally threatened to pull out of the UN if they even so much as permitted His Holiness to show up and, God forbid, talk about peace and love and compassion and forgiveness in an event on interfaith harmony. So there's always obstacles. Living your truth, there's always obstacles. There's always people who will be against you. Standing up for what is right, there's always going to be a fight. Whether it's in your home, whether it's in your society, whether it's on social media. But at least you, when you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you go to sleep at night and you look in the mirror, you are clear. And that's a gift that cannot be bought. There is no amount of money you can pay for a clear conscience and knowing that you're living in alignment. So, by all means, do not have an extramarital affair. Have the courage to say to your spouse, this is not working. Here's what I want that I'm not getting. Give them a chance to rectify it if you want to. Or walk out. I'm not the moral police. But do whatever you need to do so that you are living a life that's clear, that's conscientious, in which what you think and what you do are in alignment. Lying to others, it's not just, oh, that's a sin, but it pulls us totally out of alignment of our own spiritual practice. And when you think that you're going to suffer difficulty for your truth, just think about His Holiness. Think about the Dalai Lama. Think about being banished from your homeland. Think about having your entire religion, not just you who practices it, but the religion itself, the way of life itself, the culture itself, the people themselves, the history itself, be attempted to be annihilated and washed out. And then ask yourself how big your challenges are. And how awful what you have to face is, and how bad your colleagues really are, or your neighbors really are, or your family members really are. And when you look at leaders like that, leaders like His Holiness, leaders like Gandhi, leaders like Martin Luther King, leaders like Nelson Mandela, leaders who faced such opposition. And you listen to the power of their voice. There is a power that comes. It's not just that, they are charismatic orators. There is a power that comes from speaking your truth and living your truth. And there's a reason that so many of the most powerful speakers of the world are people of faith. Because they're people who are committed to living that truth. And it gives a power in the voice that nothing else can buy. So don't lie, don't cheat. Do whatever you think is right for your life, but for God's sakes, don't lie about it, don't cheat. Yes, other questions? Any question that anyone here has? Yeah, come to the mic.
Good evening. That was wonderful. That was a surprising question for me.
Yeah, people ask when we say there's no such thing as a wrong question, that the questions span everything. And it's all perfect, because the point of satsang is, how do we live and implement and experience truth in our life? And sometimes the greatest obstacle between me and truth is a sexual practice or a sexual inclination. Sometimes it's a relationship. Sometimes it's something that happened 30 years ago. It could be so many things. So, yeah, every question is exactly a right question.
Well, my name is Dinesh. I come from a small town called Amritsar, originally. My question is how to deal with the fear of death of your loved ones.
Yeah, that fear of the death of our loved ones. Well, the best way to deal with fear of death of our loved ones is to realize that there's only two ways any relationship can go. Either they die first or you die first. There's no other option. I mean, I guess you could die together, like in a car accident or a plane accident. But I'm not sure that's necessarily something you want to pray for, like, hey, God, take us in a car accident, so, If you lose your loved ones, what it means is they don't have to deal with the pain of losing you. It's going to be one or the other. It's the nature of nature. You're all going to die. The question is, who dies first? And so dealing with that fear is recognizing this is an inevitability. Either I am going to suffer being the one who dies, knowing that in my death I am bringing suffering to them, or I am going to suffer the pain of losing them. Either way. It's the nature of life. And this is where all of these spiritual traditions emphasize that if you don't know the nature of death, you're never going to know how to live. It's why we have the beautiful teachings, right, of the Katha Upanishad. Nachiketa goes to Yamraj. Why? Why do we have scriptures on death? A treatise basically given to us by Yamraj, by the Lord of Death. And he offers Nachiketa everything. Take all the goodies, right? It's as though Nachiketa were just trick-or-treating. I'll give you chocolates, I'll give you caramels, I'll give you money, I'll give you baseballs, I'll give you, all of the things he can think about that might entice a young boy to stop asking the core question about transcending death and the power how to live life so that we transcend this. And Yamaraj tries to distract him with everything else. But he's firm. He's not trick-or-treating. He doesn't want goodies. He doesn't want toys. He doesn't want money. He doesn't want anything else. He just wants to know. And what does Yamaraj tell him? 2 ways to live. 2 ways to live. You live the path of Shreya, path of prayas. One or the other, Shreyas, prayas. Means you live a path of enjoyment, decadence, hedonism, the kind of he who dies with the most toys wins philosophy of life. That it's just about getting more, enjoying more, having more, attaining more. It's the life of prayas. You may certainly enjoy while you're here, but you end up just coming back over and over and over and over again, taking body after body after body after body. You never transcend anything. Or you live the life of Shreyas, the life of goodness, the life of devotion, the life of dedication, the life of clarity. And that's the life that takes you into that which transcends death. Not that your body is going to stay alive. Your body is made of matter. It's made of the same stuff that everything on the earth is made of. It's all going to degenerate. But before the body degenerates, you attain an awareness that you are not the body, which therefore enables you to transcend death. Because death is scary because I identify as it. Going clothes shopping is not scary. Getting new sweaters and new shoes is not scary. Nobody says, oh God, I'm outgrowing my shoes, oh my God. It's not scary. Oh my God, I think maybe my sweater only has another 2 winters left. I'm terrified. Nobody feels like that. You think, all right, I'll get another sweater. But we're terrified about the loss of the body because we identify as it. I'm going to die. With everything else, we recognize it has a lifespan. It's my sweater, it's my jacket, it's my car, it's my toothbrush. Everything else, it's got a lifespan. Then I need a new one. And that's fine. There's no emotional drama about getting a new car or a new toothbrush. The emotional drama with the body is because I think it is me. I'm dying. The only way to overcome this is that path that takes you into truth, into knowing that you're not the body. And when you recognize that you're not the body, then of course you recognize they're not the body. So neither are you going anywhere, nor are they going anywhere. It's the only answer. I wish there were a magic wand shortcut, but it's actually the only answer. And it's why we have an entire Upanishad dedicated to it. Yeah, other questions? Yes.
Really interesting answer. My name is Pawan from Tamil Nadu, south of India, but I currently live in Stockholm, Sweden. My question to you, and especially when there is Madam from Dharamshala as well, I've been into Buddhism, but I grew up Hindu. So I'm blanking out right now. Give me 1 second.
It's okay. Take a breath.
Yeah. So, like fundamentally, you know, like Buddhism says that desire is the cause of all sufferings. And obviously there are things that are important for people, like in their, let's say, the materialistic world or in their daily lives, or one would call it the samsara, right? And like I'm trying to find the balance where, like, how do one find a balance where, you know, like it's not completely get rid of all the worldly, earthly possessions, but still have that, get rid of their desires, so their sufferings, or is it intertwined?
Yeah, I get it. How do we find that balance between living in this material world and yet not suffering? Not having the desires that cause suffering? Well, first of all, it's not desire itself that causes immediate suffering. Desire can be a very powerful catalyst. There's nothing that we do, including meditate, if we don't desire. Otherwise, we're doing it because we're just being forced to do it, and you should do it. But there's still a desire to obey, a desire to do the right thing, a desire to make our parents or our guru or our teacher happy. But without a desire, there's nothing we do. Desire is the energy that propels action. The dilemma comes with our attachment to the outcome of the desire. Because along with desire, very insidiously is woven together this expectation to have my desire fulfilled. I desire it, and on some level, I expect that because I want it, I should get it. Haven't you ever heard a kid fight with their parents, and the parent says no, and the kid says, "But I want it." The parent says no, and they say, "But I really, really want it." As though somehow the depth with which the child wants it heightens and increases the child's right to have it. Right? I mean, that's the bottom line that the kid is trying to say. Like, if you're not giving it to me, it means that you just don't know how much I want it. Because if you knew how much I wanted it, obviously you'd give it to me. It's my right. And a lot of us never outgrow that. A lot of us move through the world with this belief that because I really, really, really want it, I am therefore entitled to have it happen. And that the power of my desire makes me even more entitled to have it happen. Which is why when it doesn't happen, what you'll notice if you look really deeply and honestly at yourself, when your desires are not fulfilled, you'll find that there's two different things going on. One is just a disappointment. That would have been nice. But in many cases, in many of us, there's also a hint of bitterness. It's not just a random disappointment, too bad. But there's a sense of, oh God, like I really wanted that. It's not fair. I should have gotten it. Why is the universe against me? There's this implication that because I desire it, I am entitled to having it fulfilled. And that's what bites you in the rear end. Not the desire, but that sense that because you want it, you're entitled for it to happen. You're entitled to it happening. Because then when it doesn't happen, if it's just a desire, it happens, great. It doesn't happen, okay. But if there's an expectation that you're going to get what you want, that you are entitled to it, Then there is resentment. There's anger. There's a misery that is far bigger and deeper and longer lasting than just the, that's too bad disappointment when what I want didn't happen. And that's what you need to let go of. Live in the world, absolutely. But live in the world in such a way that it doesn't touch you. You have it, great. You don't have it, no problem. Right? You have it, you don't have it. That's the key. That's the key. Is do your best, succeed, play your role in the cosmic drama, but recognize that there's a whole bunch of laws in play. Laws of karma, laws of nature, other people's karmic laws, right? Every one of our threads is interwoven with another person's thread. We think, oh, I want to be number one in my class. As though somehow out of 50 or 1,500 kids, God should ignore the fact that every other one of them also wants to be number one in the class and make me number one. Right? Well, you recognize, oh wait, my karmic thread is interwoven with everybody else's karmic thread. They're also at home at night praying, oh God, make me number one. Maybe it'll happen, but maybe it won't. And I'm no more entitled to it than any of the other ones are. I study, they study. I want it, they want it. I'm a good person, they're a good person. And so you learn to move through the world without a sense of expectation. You still have desire, but it's a desire that's held very lightly and that serves as a catalyst for action, but that doesn't turn around and become disappointment and misery and anger and angst when what you wanted doesn't happen. Of course, of course. Yeah, last question.
Thank you. Pranam Mataji.
Of course.
My question is the following up question from first question. You very well explained how to just...
Can you just hold the mic up closer to your mouth so we can hear it?
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
So I want to ask that what to do in such a situation when you know that your partner is cheating on you, but you don't want to question or argue with them in a fear of losing them completely.
Okay. Flip side of the first question. What do you do when your partner is having an affair and you don't want to question them because you're afraid of losing them? Very simple. You make a decision in your mind. And in your mind you decide, I am prepared to stay with her even if she cheats on me, or I am not. And if you are prepared, then there's no reason to say anything. You know she's cheating on you, but you're prepared to stay with her anyway. Why bother rocking the boat? Or, if for some reason you have a bit of an addiction to drama, you tell her that you know she's having an affair, and then just to make sure that she feels extra guilty, you tell her that you've decided to stay with her anyway. But really all that's going to do is increase the drama. It's not going to actually improve your situation. If you really, 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 really don't want to lose her, and you're prepared to stay with her even if she's being disloyal, your best bet, in my opinion, would be to say nothing, but to figure out in your mind what might it be that's leading her to stray. What might it be that she's wanting in the relationship that she's not getting from you? And figure out ways to start giving that to her. Because just because you're not prepared to break up doesn't mean that she won't one day come and say, look, I've got to come clean and let you know I'm having this affair and I'm leaving you for him. So you better start now, not just accepting her disloyalty, but actually figuring out how to give her that which she's looking for. But I would also introspect and I would say, why is my self-esteem so low that I don't actually believe that I deserve someone who's loyal to me? That I don't believe that I deserve someone for whom I'm their number one? Like, why am I prepared to stay in a situation where I'm somebody's number two? They're my number one and I'm their number two? Why wouldn't you want to be someone's number one? So you might want to say to her, but of course it's risky. When I was very, very young, my dad taught me a very important lesson that I've held my whole life. He said, never give someone a choice if one of the options is not acceptable to you. So think about it, obviously, for a while. But you may want to say to her, look, I know that you're being disloyal. I forgive you. I want to stay together. But I can't stand being your number two. You're my number one. What can I do to be your number one again? Because it's not going to work like this. And see whether you can rebuild a relationship. Ultimately, the choice is yours. But if you are prepared to stay in a situation where you know she's lying and cheating, I would really look within and say, why? And of course, there are times. There are times where there's confounding factors. There's little babies that you really have to think about, or young kids at a tender age. There certainly are reasons why we sometimes make decisions that are not what would seem to be the most obvious. But make sure that you're really clear about why would you make a decision to stay with someone, to dedicate your time, your life to someone who A, is lying to you, B, is cheating on you, and C, for whom you're not even her number one. You've got so much to offer the world. Why wouldn't you want to offer that to somebody who wants that as their first choice? But you never know. Give her the opportunity. Give her the option. She may just be having the affair, thinking she can get away with it. But if she knows it's going to make her lose you, she may come around. I hope she does. Yeah, but think for a long time about this before you do one way or the other, because words are like arrows from a bow that have been shot into the world. You cannot take them back. You cannot rewind or undo a conversation. So really, really introspect on that. But I think living in a situation where I knew I was being lied to, not just once, but like every day about everything basically, would be really kind of intolerable for me. Yeah. I'm sorry you're going through that. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your evening, everyone. And a beautiful morning and day to our family joining us from all over the world. And so, so, so much love to you all.